Hello everyone and welcome to OmegaCodex. I am Sanal. In this video, we will focus on a critical aspect of Azure DevOps, managing secrets in Azure Pipelines. In any development environment, securing the configurations and sensitive data is non-negotiable, and Azure Pipelines also provides you with various options for doing it effectively. We'll see different methods you can employ, from using secret variables in your pipelines to integrating Azure KeyVault for enhanced security. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's first talk about the basics. What exactly are secrets and why is it crucial to manage them effectively within Azure Pipelines? Secrets are sensitive pieces of information that our applications need to function properly, but shouldn't be exposed to unauthorized parties. These can include things like API keys, passwords, connection strings, or certificates. In Azure DevOps, we often use secrets to configure our applications, control access, or connect to other services. Without proper management, these secrets can become a significant security risk. For example, if an API key is exposed, malicious users could exploit it, causing service disruptions and incurring unexpected costs. To safeguard our secrets, we need to focus on secure storage, limited access, and proper usage. The goal is to minimize the chances of exposure and mitigate potential damage if the exposure does occur. In Azure Pipelines, there are several ways to manage secrets. We can store them directly in the pipelines as secret variables, use secure files, or integrate with external services like Azure KeyVault. Each method offers a different level of security and convenience. Directly storing secrets in pipelines might be straightforward, but it carries certain risks if not handled correctly. Integrating with KeyVault offers centralized management and enhanced security, but requires additional setup. Understanding the different approaches and their trade-offs is key to making informed decisions about how to manage the secrets in your pipeline. With a clear understanding of what secrets are and why it is crucial to manage them, let's explore some best practices for managing secrets within Azure Pipelines. First one is least privilege principle. The least privilege principle states that you should only grant the minimal level of access necessary for a function or entity to perform its task. This applies to secrets too. Ensure that secrets are only accessible to those who absolutely need them. This reduces the potential impact of the breach. Avoid hard-coding secrets. One of the easiest ways for secrets to be exposed is through hard-coding them directly in your source code. Instead, use secure methods to inject secrets into your application configuration during deployment or runtime. Use secure variables. Azure Pipelines allows you to create variables that are marked as secrets. These secure variables are encrypted and masked in logs as well, providing a simple way to manage secrets in your pipelines. Next is centralized secret management. Rather than scattering secrets across your various configurations, centralizing their management using a tool like Azure KeyVault. This allows you to rotate, manage, and audit secrets efficiently at a single place. Next is regularly rotate secrets. Even with the best security measures, secrets can still be compromised. Regularly rotating secrets minimizes the potential damage from such events. KeyVault makes this easy with inbuilt secret versioning. Audit and monitor access. Always keep an eye on who is accessing your secrets and when. KeyVault provides detailed logs that can help you in detecting unusual activity, while Azure Pipelines has auditing features to track access and changes. Secure your infrastructure. The security of your secret is only as strong as the security of your infrastructure. Use network security measures like firewalls and private endpoints to restrict access to your resources. By following these practices, you can ensure that secrets are well protected and your pipeline remains secure. Now let's move on and see how we can put these practices into action using Azure Pipelines. We'll continue using the same DevOps project which we have been using in the previous videos. In this, we already have pipelines using classic editor as well as the YAML pipeline. So the one we will use here is the classic editor as well as the one with stages which we had. So let's look at the variables in the YAML pipeline. So if you come and edit this pipeline, we can see that we have used variable groups. So we'll look into those as well in just a while. But before that, we have an option called variables here, which we can use to set up our secret variables. So as an example, we already are using this connection string app settings, which in the initial videos, we didn't put it as a secret, just to demonstrate how we are setting up app settings. But ideally, something like connection strings also should be as a secret, because it could have your server information, or it could have the credentials of the user which you are using in the connection string, or it could also have keys in case of situations like when you are using a storage account or a Cosmos DB, you will be using account keys in many cases. So to start with, we can come here. So to create a new secret variable, just we have to give it a name. Let's call it secret value, and the option which makes it secret is this: keep this value as a secret. And the way you access it in your YAML pipeline is just by our dollar notation. So with a dollar sign and enclosed in parentheses. If you're using it in scripts in your pipeline, so these are the formats. For batch script, whatever be the name in batch script, it has to be put it in capitals, with starting with percentage and ending with percentage. If it's PowerShell, then it becomes an environment variable. Again, the variable name is in capital. And in bash script, it's with dollar and parentheses, but again the name is in capital. So in all three cases, irrespective of how we have created the variable, it would have to be mentioned as in capitalized. Now, one more thing to notice when working with secret variables is that they must be explicitly mapped to an environment variable. So yeah, this applies to actually the normal variables, and when we are working with secrets, so we have to explicitly map it to the environment variable. So we have to mention the same variable name and same environment variable name, and we have to specify the explicit map. And with that, it's kind of done after we click the save button. But if we come back here, we can still check the value. But once we save it, and if you come to variable section, open test secrets, you see that we cannot change this in YAML pipelines. If you're using classic editors, you could still enable and disable this value, but in YAML, once you have set it, you cannot disable this value. It's always a secret, and you can't see what's in the value section anymore. So if you want to change it, you can change it to something new, but now you cannot see what you are typing. But anyway, you can always click this show secret or show password button, and you can see what you have written there. So this way, your secret variables are, once they are set as secrets, they are masked, and once you save it, there is no way to see what was the value. And even when the pipeline is running, even if you put it in the logs, it always comes as masked. So this is one way how we can create secret variables. Now if we come to pipelines with classic editors, and if we edit it here in this variable section, you can see the option to create variables. And when you add a secret variable, you can change this variable type to secret. So once you change it, it gets masked. Here you can uncheck it, or rather disable it, and you can again see the value until you have saved it. Similar mechanism works here like we saw with the YAML pipeline. Once you save it, then it is not possible for us to see that value again. So now we have saved it, and the secret variable is here. And now if we change to the type to a normal variable, it gets reset. So we cannot see what was the value before, after we have saved it. And the way we use it is exactly same like we use any normal variable. Now I was talking about variable groups with stages. So variable groups are present in the library section of Azure DevOps. So in the stages pipeline, we were using these two variable groups for dev and QA stage. So whenever it was being deployed to the dev environment, the values were getting picked from the web app dev variable group, and for QA it was from web app QA. So if we come to this section, we can see that we have this variable with connection string, and let's make it secret. Let's go back to the pipeline. So the steps were essentially same in all the places. We just had to enable it as a secret variable, and we are good to go. So let's just try running this and see what difference we can notice. So the pipeline is starting to build the application. Let's give it a few minutes. So now it went ahead, built the code and deployed to dev. So let's look at what was there in the logs. Now we can see that it is updating the app service based on the connection string, and the connection string is masked. So we don't know what is the connection string because it's a secret variable, and even the DevOps logs masks it so that it is not visible. And if we go ahead and push to QA, we can see if we are able to see the values, because remember we didn't change the variable type for QA from a normal to secret type. So I'll just approve it, since this stage requires approval, with something which we discussed in one of the earlier videos. So if you haven't watched the video about multi-stage YAML pipelines, you can check out the video shown up here, and I have explained in detail how to set this up. So let's give it a few seconds. So here we can see that when it is deploying, we can see what is the value of that variable, because for QA we didn't change it to a secret. So even that is one thing which we should be aware, that if you have such properties which are not meant to be exposed, these can get exposed in DevOps logs as well. So we should make sure that if we have settings which are supposed to be secret, then we should mark them as secret. So this was the approach with secret variables. The next one I want to show is with KeyVault. So I will be using Azure KeyVault, and it is very easy to integrate it. Let's just edit our pipeline, come back to our dev stage, and in the task list, let's add a new task. So I'll use the KeyVault 2 task, and to make it simple, I'll just click on the settings button to select the rest of the items. So to connect to KeyVault on Azure, we will have to set up a service connection. So even I have explained about service connections in the multi-stage YAML video, but I can just quickly show you. So we go to project settings. In project settings, you have an option called service connections, and that's where you set up your service connection. So I already have this Azure service connection. So I have set it up using the workload identity federation, which is one of the options where you get when you set up a service connection, and it has created its own service principal which accesses my subscript. You could always create a new service connection by clicking on the new service connection option, and you can select Azure Resource Manager. So there are many other options as well, like you can create service connections to quite a lot of services. You have Bitbucket, you have Jira, you have NuGet, Maven, Service Fabric. So there is quite a lot. So with Azure Service Connection, which is used to connect to Azure and to manage the resources through pipeline, you have options like Service Principal Automatic, which automatically creates a AD registration, and that's what it uses to manage the resources. Only thing is you should have permissions to create app registrations to do this. The new option is to have a workload identity federation. It is using OpenID Connect, and this kind of eliminates the need of client secrets, and Azure manages it by itself. So let's come back to here, and let me select my service connection, and I don't think I have a KeyVault as of now, so let's create one. Let's go to Azure portal, and I'll create my KeyVault here. Let's search for KeyVault, and we'll click create. So the KeyVault name has to be unique across all the KeyVaults on Azure, because the final URL which gets created for the KeyVault is kind of a global URL, and you have to have a unique name. So let's call it Web App Vault, and looks okay. It is happy with the pricing tier. We'll keep it standard. We'll have soft delete enabled so that if any any secrets are disabled, we don't lose it immediately. We'll keep it as access role-based access control, and yeah, let's keep it public for now. If we want to have access to KeyVault from DevOps, then we'll have to either keep it public, or we'll have to allow access from DevOps to KeyVault by allowing the IPs of the agent to the KeyVault. So let's not complicate it for now. We'll just keep it simple. So KeyVault is created, and let's create a new secret. Yeah, so I will have to give myself access first. Add myself as KeyVault admin. So the permission we need is KeyVault administrator, and you can see that this is a permission which is applicable only for Azure role-based access control permission model. So this will let me perform all data plane operations. So that is including certificates, keys, secrets. I can change all those values. I will just select my name, interview and assign, and I have added myself as administrator. So now I should be able to create a new secret. So for connection string, let's do one thing. Let's create a new secret. It's a manual secret. We'll call it, just to differentiate it from what we have on the variable group, and we'll get the value from the variable group. I'll just copy this and enter the secret value here. Let's put it this way. I'll just put it QA vault username and password, so that we know it's coming from a different, it's coming from the right place and the right values are getting applied, and we'll create it. Let's come back to YAML pipeline, and since we have used or set the QA variable, let's set up KeyVault for QA. We'll use the KeyVault task, click on settings, come to service connection, and let's see if we can pull the vault. So now I can see the vault name because I've created it, and the service connection has already permissions to fetch resources from the resource group where I have created the vault. So I have access to get the KeyVault from there. And we have the secrets filter. Here we can either mention star, which means that it will pull out all the secrets from the KeyVault, what is available, and that will become available in the pipeline. Otherwise, we can also mention specific secret names. So as it is mentioned here, so we can mention a comma separated list of secrets, or leave star to download all secrets from the selected KeyVault. So let's keep it star for now. And this is another option, make secrets available to the whole job. So what it would do is, now by default what happens is the secret is only available for the very next task which follows this particular KeyVault task. But if we check, suppose we have multiple tasks where the secrets are being used, or there are different secrets being used, then the ideal option is to choose make secrets available for the whole job, and then it can be used for the entire job. So for us, we don't need that because we only have one secret, and we'll be using it in the very next. And the change we have to make is copy this name, and that will become our variable name when we are accessing. It didn't copy properly. Let me copy it again. So this becomes the variable name in the pipeline. So whatever is the secret name, that is directly mapped to the variable name in the pipeline. If you have a script, the same rules apply that we saw with secret variables, where they get capitalized. So I think we are good. We'll just validate and save it. Okay, so it doesn't apply. So branch policies are activated, and it will not let me commit to the main branch. KeyVault update. Let's call it KeyVault update. Azure Pipelines, and I would like to, let's put some description, added KeyVault or QA. So I will have to merge this pull request now to get merged. So as the PR build is running, in the meantime, one more thing which we have to do is to give the pipeline permission to read secrets from this KeyVault. So it was able to access the resource because it has a contributor access on the resource group itself. So we can see this pipeline app, which is the same app which is registered as part of my service connection. So like if I go here and open it, and the application ID which I can see here is 7C1, and if I come back to service connection, it's the same service principal ID which is present here. So it's the same app registration using which it is accessing the Azure resources and managing them. But KeyVault secrets being in the data plane, not at the management plane, you will need to give explicit access for it to access those secrets. So for that, we will have to come to access control, add role assignments. So obviously you should also be having access to assign roles, otherwise you will have issues giving access and you will have to contact somebody who has access. So in the function roles, we have this KeyVault secret user, which is what gives access to the pipeline to read the secrets. We don't need to give any write access, we only want the pipeline to read the secrets, so we'll just give that minimal access. And in user groups, I'll just put the application name as pipeline app and review and assign permissions. So with that, the role assignment is added, and let's check back on the pipeline. Okay, so the PR is merged and it has started building the pipeline. So let's wait for us to come to QA. So with the magic of video editing, let's jump straight to that. Now you can see it run the KeyVault step and is deploying the app service, and we still don't see what is there in the settings. So we can open the site. So this is the sample app we have been using, and it just shows us the value of the connection string. So you can see the value set is the one we set on the KeyVault. So we have the QA vault username and vault password. So this way we have integrated the KeyVault on our pipeline, and we are fetching those secrets from the KeyVault and applying it to the app settings. So this way nobody is able to get those secrets directly or manipulate them, and you can always have a very restrictive control on the KeyVault, who has access to it and who can change it, and pipeline just has read access to get those secrets, and even then it is not visible on the pipeline. Now there is one side effect to it, is that you could always go and see the secret on the app service itself. So if we come to the QAE and we go to the environment variables, so you have this default connection, and you can see what is the password here, what is the secret here. So it is available or visible in the environment variables. So if somebody who has access to the app service itself, then they have access to the secrets. You can overcome it with something called as KeyVault references. So for that, let's come back to our pipeline, edit it, and this time let's edit it on dev. So let's come to the dev settings, and what we can mention here is in this way, @Microsoft KeyVault, or let's do one thing. Let's come to library, and in our dev settings, let's add one more connection vault ref, and let's put the vault reference. The way it is defined is @Microsoft.KeyVault, and then we put vault name equal to the name of our vault and the secret name which we want to refer, the secret name, and this whole setting is in brackets. So @Microsoft.KeyVault, and in brackets or parenthesis we mention the vault name or the vault name and the secret. Now the other way you can give this KeyVault reference is using the entire secret URI. So we can put something like @Microsoft.KeyVault, and then parenthesis we specify secret URI and the URL to the secret. Though I find the other format more descriptive and easy to understand. So you have just vault name as the name of the vault, the secret name which you are using. You can also keep this as secret so that nobody knows what is the exact value. Let's copy this, save it. So in this case, you don't need to provide any access from Azure DevOps to the KeyVault, because this particular string is just like a setting value. So it is like how we were setting secret variables with the connection strings directly. So it's similar to that. And here we can have the variable name as connection string from vault reference. So let's update it and put it in a new branch, reference, Azure Pipelines, and save it. And let's wait for the PR to get merged. Like we gave the KeyVault access to Azure DevOps, now the access has to be given to the app service, because that is what will be reading the secrets from the KeyVault. So for that, we will need a managed identity on the app service itself. So we can create a user assigned identity, or we can create a system assigned identity by clicking on this identity option, and we can turn on the system assigned identity, which will create a managed identity for this app service. But I think we created it for the wrong one. My bad. Let's just create it for the dev one. So I have the dev one opened. Let's create an identity by going to the identity menu, and it does take few seconds to create the identity. So app identity is created. Let's just copy. We don't even actually need to copy this object ID. We can just go to KeyVault, go to IAM access control, and we have to give the same access permissions which we gave to the DevOps service principal. We can search for KeyVault secret user. Next, here we have to select managed identity. Remember earlier we had selected service principal, but now we can select managed identity, and in managed identity it will show, we can select app services, and will show the app services we have. So we need the dev one, for which we are setting it up, and we can review and assign. It's merged, and we can have a look. Let's give it a few seconds. So the deployment to dev has started, and let's see what we get. So let's check the dev instance and see if our app settings are set up properly. And it can be confusing, but remember we have used the same KeyVault secret now for QAE and dev, which is not an ideal scenario, but that's what we did right now. So we are using the same secret on both the dev and QAE. So this is the QAE app service, and this was the dev app service, and now it is using the KeyVault reference to fetch the secret from the KeyVault directly. So this way the app service is set up to directly fetch the secret from the KeyVault, and on the pipeline we are just mentioning the KeyVault reference. So this way we are not exposing any secrets on the KeyVault, and only app service has access to the KeyVault. So your access also remains within Azure, and you are not giving access to anything outside Azure. So this is like one step more secure, and the way we can work with secret variables. That brings us to the end of today's video about managing secrets with Azure Pipelines. I hope you found this video useful. Now I want to hear from you. How are you managing your secrets? Are there any unique challenges you faced or solutions that you have discovered? Please share your experiences, feedbacks, and questions in the comment section below. If you found today's video useful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more in-depth tutorials, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on latest posts. Together, let's continue to enhance our security practices and keep our development environment safe and sound. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Until then, keep coding smart and keep innovating. Adios.